There's multiple reasons, but let me just mention 4. One reason is confusion. When people come into a church, it's a really alien environment. If they're not used to church, or if they're not used to your type of church, they might not know what's going on. And everybody else knows what's going on. People know when to stand up, when to sit down, where to find Bible references, when to say something out loud, or what to do with your hands during singing. Everybody knows what's going on except the guest. And that can be a really confusing, disconcerting experience. And if they feel totally out of their element, it might just seem easier not to bother. And so that's one thing, the confusion. Another reason people don't come back is children. Honestly, you come to church as a family and you experience church as parents. You sit in the meeting, you think about the singing and the preaching, you're focused on that. But when you get back in the car and you go home afterwards, if the children are not excited, if the children had a bad experience, if they were bored, if they didn't feel cared for, or if you felt like they weren't cared for or they weren't safe, it doesn't matter how good the preaching was or the music, you're not coming back. The children's experience is really important in a church. It's not an afterthought. They are just as important as the adults in the room. And so the children's experience will be very significant. In fact, if children have a good time, the parents might be like, well, it's okay. But if the kids are saying, please, can we go again? They tend to get their way. And so the children's experience is important. Another thing is consistency. Are the elements of the experience consistent with one another? I don't know, so many potential examples. Is it a warm and friendly environment, but then a harsh and overbearing worship leader, or a harsh and overbearing pipe organ, or something that doesn't seem to fit with the environment of the church? Now, if a church has a pipe organ and it fits, that's great. I'm not critiquing that. But something that doesn't quite fit can make it feel off. A message preached about the generosity of God and then really stingy refreshments. Just little things like that. Think about the whole package. How is this experience for the guest? Is it consistent with what we're saying that we believe? And so is there a consistency between the gospel that's preached and the welcome that is given to guests at the door? So all sorts of aspects of that consistency, as well as the confusion of the experience of the children. And the last one I'll mention is the connection. Does this church connect with me? And that's especially the preaching. Does this preacher understand my life? He's preaching from this ancient document, that's fine, but does it connect with me and where I'm at and the experiences that I'm going through? If people feel a sense that, yeah, that was for me, then they're much more likely to return. If it felt like they were stepping into an environment from 100 years ago and they were hearing a message from 2,000 years ago and there was nothing for today, maybe not bother. And so it's worth thinking about those kinds of things, from the preaching, but also the consistency with the elements of the service, the experience of the children. Are they safe, having a good time? Take all the elements of what people experience, evaluate it. And I think, honestly, if we look at our churches, we can sometimes see the reason people might not choose to return. And we can fix it, hopefully.